The Central Club.
What's going on, people? It's Colin from the Central Club podcast. This random episode, is brought to you by Re-Inspire Printing, Weekend Defender, and Apple Camping. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button. Please, I appreciate it. If you subscribe to the club and hit the bell button to be notified of future content. So, first, disclaimer before we start, all right? I never thought I'd be doing another video like this. I thought the one interview was it, done, dealt with. This is in regards to the Ayub podcast and the Jay Slater case in general. To my left, I have Benji Wild, legend in the music scene, really, a pioneer in Welsh grime / rock, would you say?
Yeah, a bit of that, bit of this.
If you know Asteroid Boys anyway, you know anyway, but
that's not what we're here for today.
That's not what we're here for today. I'm just giving a little introduction. Also, me and Benji know each other. It's kind of like the Ayub thing, isn't it? We know each other.
Yeah. but so we are here because I'm passionate about the case.
Yeah.
And me and you chat on the phone like we have done for months, just like giving each other, what do you think? What do you think? Just because we've been interested. And when I watched the podcast, I was like, damn, people are giving you a hard time, which I just didn't think was right, because I know you well enough to know the exact reason why you wanted him on and why you let him speak. You gave him a platform to just open up and tell his side of events, which unfortunately nobody else who had maybe better equipped questions could get. So, I kind of wanted to come along and give you a chance to chat with me and sort of answer some of the questions people online have posed.
I was going to do a reaction anyway, and when we spoke, I thought it would be a good idea, seeing as you are someone who is more of an expert on this case than me.
No expert.
But you know more than me, and
I paid attention to the ins and outs. Yeah.
And what people are saying on the chat is like, well, they're trying to say that like you don't really know much about it, so why are you interviewing him? And the reason I interviewed him is because yes, there was a connection there. I did meet the guy years prior in prison, and when I seen him on my TV screen, I thought, fucking hell, that's Ayub from Cardiff jail. And we wasn't mates, we wasn't friends. I just knew the guy, and we got on in jail. So I thought,
were you on the wing together?
Induction wing.
So for what, a week or 2 weeks?
Not even that. But then when we were in on our sentence, free flow, he's on a different wing to me, but you go education or you go church, and he's going Friday prayers, or yes, but that was it.
When we were speaking on the phone, I remember you saying that you don't necessarily know him. It's just that you happened to meet in that one.
Yeah, and I feel like that went a long way. To me that was like, oh my God, I'm going to try and message this guy.
Would you? Sorry to interrupt. Would you say that if it wasn't for him coming on the news and being involved in the Jay Slater case, would you say that the chances are you'd have never spoken to him again?
That is the case. I would never have. There's no way in a million years. So when I reached out to him, he didn't recognize me. I had to send him a mugshot of me when I was a smackhead.
You changed a lot. You have changed a lot.
Yeah. And he was like, and as soon as he seen the photo, he was like, oh my, like he was buzzing for me that I'd actually turned, because when I was in jail, I was a heroin addict, so he didn't even notice me, and I had to say, mate, I was in jail with you 20, and saying the year, like, I got the messages, like, I'll see if I can find it now.
I think that's important to note, is that, people seem to think that you and him are in cahoots, and that you're doing him a solid by letting him tell his bullshit.
Yeah, and this is the 9th of July. Yo, brother, do you remember me? Cardiff prison. He didn't answer. Yo, send pic, LOL. I sent him the pic.
Right, okay.
Yes, lad.
Yes, kid, I remember you, lad, bro. What are you saying? You all right, yeah? What's your name again, bro?
so you really don't know each other? Like.
Exactly, bro. It was like, this is an opportunity to get this guy on because I remember him. Let's try and at that time, I don't even think it was like, I'm going to get this guy on. It was like trying to confirm to myself that this is the guy I was in jail with.
Yeah.
Because that's why I put Cardiff prison. And then you know, good man, proud of you. They put us in jail expecting us to fail. Failure is not an option. That's so Ayub. But that was it.
Okay. All right, fair enough. So, I mean, I can see clear as day there.
Yeah.
You know,
and we'll put it up on the screen for the people.
You don't know each other. You did meet, but I guess in a way, it makes sense why he opted to come onto your show, because he knows you have been around the same blocks as he's been. Like, you know, you've been in, you got the same sort of understanding of life. He trusted you. A lot of the people who have been, got platforms who have been involved in this case, they don't necessarily seem to understand the world around drugs.
Yeah, and it's really sad because, you know, we're going to get into this, and I'm quite like animated right now because it feels weird you kind of questioning me on my podcast, you know. But let's be real now. Like, I started this because I want to change people's perception of all walks of life, and I've been judged and I've been stigmatized for years as an addict, and I'd like to think I've turned that round. There was two people have like said, who have reacted to this, and both of them kind of said remarks of like how small-minded I was and how small-minded Ayub was, and because we lived that life and not everyone. And I thought, wow, you are the one here. It's hypocrisy. You're the ones who have the small-mindedness because you don't understand our lives and what we've been through. You know, I actually have an amazing upbringing. I didn't have the upbringing Ayub had, but I still went down that road of addiction. It can happen to anyone, and these people need to understand this.
I saw people saying that everything Ayub said is a lie and a cover-up. One of the things that I did notice, I actually felt that he seems like a much more genuine person than even I gave him credit for. For him to have come on and done 2 hours, you didn't badger him with questions. You gave him the space to talk. And for him to have come on and spoke for 2 hours about his involvement, if there was any, aside from him hanging out with Jay, he would have to be an absolute psychopath narcissist.
Yeah.
If he actually was something to do with it. Like, if it came out in 6 months' time that he had some direct involvement in the death.
The fact he's come on and straight face.
Oh, man, like, you know, we're going down the McCann route, you know, like where you can't look in the camera and tell lies with like that and then be found out to be guilty. That's bad. So I feel like people do need to give him a bit of credit for even bothering, because I do think also he comes off a little bit emotionless towards Jay Slater, and he's obviously said it's a sad thing, and you know, he's known the boy for a couple of minutes and he's a little bit angry, it seems, which I think is fair enough, because he's been vilified. Like, he's been made out to be a villain so heavy just because he was in the same space as him. But I genuinely do think that he knows a lot less than people seem to think he does.
A lot less?
A lot less than people seem to think he does. But this brings me on to one of the main things that is in my notes, right? Because I watched it through and I kept making notes. He cannot say Brandon's name. Brandon Hodges, that's his name, innit? Yeah. Ayub could not say that boy's name. For 2.5 hours, he's telling this story and he skips around this boy's name. Do you regret not grilling him more on his relationship with Brandon or on Brandon as a person?
I'm gutted, to be honest. Look, I'm 3.5 years into podcasting. I'd like to think I'm a decent host, but I'm still not the best. And we learn we learn after every podcast I do. I always say, fuck, I wish I said more.
Yeah.
I think it was a mix of just letting him say what he wants. I don't like to interrupt. Reason I called it a Central Club, it has many reasons. One of them is because I cannot stand podcasts where they get guests on and it's all them talking, the host. I didn't come on to watch the host, I come on to watch the guest. Yeah. So I try to stay back as possible. They're the center of attention, the Central Club. So that was one reason, but the other reason I would like to say, maybe subconsciously, I have to be honest, it was because maybe there was a bit of that. I don't want to upset. I don't want him to just go click off and turn off, you know? Yeah, well, I don't want him to shut down.
I got that from the interview because I know you and because I I trust you. I was like, oh damn, why are you not grilling him? Why you letting him skirt around this boy? Because he's the only person from the beginning who went on holiday with Jay Slater and just has never come forward to give his side, never seemed helpful in the search, just disappeared. And anytime his name gets mentioned, it's like people really want to shut it down. And personally, I do think that's suspicious.
I think,
but you can only do it. Sorry.
Yeah, go on, crack on.
I could tell that if you'd have forced him to say stuff that he doesn't want to say, it could spook him, and you might not get the chance for him to say more stuff. Because really, you could say that by letting him talk, you gave him enough rope to hang himself, but he just didn't hang himself.
Well, that's kind of like the motto of the Central Club. Is we give you the stage to liberate and change people's perception, or give you the rope to hang yourself. We've had it with many guests. This isn't the first guest we've been asked to grill more. Tommy Robinson, Lawrence Fox. We've had politicians on. We've had sports stars, and people have said, "Oh, I wish you grilled them more." I think the reason why these people come on is because we're like that. And would I rather have a guest like that and actually get an interview with them where people can take everything, what they've said, or not get the interview at all because they don't trust me? I think I'd rather the first one.
So as much as Brandon is like the main one that people have noticed, he skirts around mentioning his name. He calls Brad,
little
matey, or the young fella. And, especially at this far down the line with so much that's gone on, he knows that boy's name. Even with Lucy.
Well, I had to say Brad, didn't I?
Yes, You did. He tries to not say anyone's name. And then I was thinking, he's come from a life of, obviously he's saying now he does crypto, he does whatever, so I don't. But he comes from a life and a world where grassing and saying people's names is very much against the code.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah?
And I picked
people
up,
don't understand that though, do they?
And I think that was why this conversation was important, because a lot of people don't seem to understand Ayub. When I saw I felt like I did.
But that's why I didn't. I've premiered and everyone's going, "Oh, is this not even about Jay Slater?" They don't understand that I'm trying to get to find out who this guy is. You're portraying someone to be, and a lot of people have got this guy as the fucking main suspect on their mad conspiracy, and they don't even know this guy. Now, I'm not discrediting it. He might be involved, but you've got to give these people a chance. Do you want me to kind of give you just a run through of how it happened, and then you can run along?
Go on.
So we eventually got him, we got speaking. He told me he had a load of podcasters involved. I actually showed you the clip in the bed. You put it on your TikTok, didn't you? Yeah? I went on the algorithm. I said, I knew it was him. So when it was the same day we got to speak, and he was like, "Yeah, listen, I'd love to come on the podcast. I've got a few other people asking me to come on, Mags, and I think it was Pound Sterling, Winners."
Do you know why I did that? Because at that time, there was no reason for me to believe that podcast with him was definitely going to happen. And I genuinely have always wanted justice. I wanted people to stop chasing the boogeyman. So when I shared that with the person I shared it with, I was like, this is the first time anyone had heard Ayub speak.
Yeah.
And I was like, what you did with your podcast eventually was kind of what I was trying to say. Look, stop chasing this guy. Look, he's talking like very calmly and very politely, and he's not the suspect.
Yeah. So months go down, and he's like, "Yeah, look, I'm still away." Because one thing we do with the Central Club, another part about the editing, which was a fuck up, which we'll get onto, we don't like doing Zoom calls. I turned down Michael Sheen, legend, Michael Sheen, the actor. I turned him down because he wanted to do a Zoom call. I regret it now. This was earlier on. I want people in the studio. I want them next to me. I want to feel their energy. I want to get close to him. No diddy. But that wasn't happening. When we spoke to him about a month ago, when we finally decided to do it, he was still away. So we were like, fuck it, let's just get the Zoom in. Let's just do it, right? So we done the first one, right, with Harrison. And I had 4 guests on the day, right? And I've done there's a video out where I confirm this. I've done 4 guests in a day. So we have slots. Now, there was no way I was doing an hour with Ayub because I wanted to get to know who he was before we get into the main gravy of what people want to know. So we had to stop halfway through. And we were like, listen, can we come back and do a part 2? And he was cool about it. So Reese decided that he could help me do the part 2 because Harrison wasn't available. and we decided to book a date. We'd done the date. Now, when we got Ayub on, I realized that he was in a much quieter place than he was the first time. He's not a techie kid when it comes to podcasts, yeah? He was the first one, he was like in a bar. It was loud, there was noise, you know, all the white noise in the background. It was shit, mate, I'll be honest with you, right? And all we got up to in the first interview was Jay's missing. So he's left the house. So that's where we got to. So I asked Ayub, and Ayub was fine with it to start from the beginning. And I'd like to think that it
made better quality.
It did. It made better quality. It was in a quieter place. And I made sure that I covered the questions I did in the first one. So it was very similar up to the first half.
I don't have any queries about the editing stuff because I understand how media works, you know, but I guess just for the people who are interested, you're saying that there's nothing that you intentionally left out of the edit that could have been incriminating.
No.
Because ultimately that's daft because
I'll be honest.
It would ruin the whole point.
And I'm fuming. I'm fuming. He rang me up, he goes, I've taken the bit out about when he talks about the difference between Somalia and Somaliland. I went, bro, why? He went, I just don't think the people are going to find value in this. I said, mate, I'm a proper geography freak, yeah, and I got a lot of mates from Somaliland, yeah, and we went into, that was the only bit that got taken out. Now, wait there.
Go on.
But when it comes to the edit, listen, please, right, because a lot of you, and I'm not disrespecting a lot, but I've seen some of the, like, there's some good people out there, like that Wax has done some really good stuff, yeah, right? But there's some people out there who react, and their content's dead. It's shit. It's unprofessional. I'm sorry, but I'm not on TikTok or on YouTube just doing a live on my phone and posting it. No, when I mean editing, I don't mean chopping bits out that Ayub's saying. Yeah. I mean I'm putting an intro on. I'm putting an outro on. I'm putting my sponsors on.
If you were to have,
that's editing.
If you were to have removed any incriminating evidence, it would have destroyed the...
That's the gravy.
Yeah, it would have destroyed the whole point of doing the interview.
Exactly.
And
not just that.
People in the Ayub video, they didn't like the fact that, you know, you spend a lot of time letting him talk about his crypto.
The crypto king.
Yeah, so people want to get to the gravy. Yeah? So let's get down to the nitty gritty.
But one more. Yeah, this guy talking about him being the crypto king and stuff. It sounds like I'm defending him now, but not every crypto is a scam. Like this guy's making crypto, so he's a scammer, and you're like, not every crypto is a scam, mate.
You also have to read between the lines. Personally, I don't know Ayub. I've never seen him other than when this came out. So I don't mind saying this. I am just a civilian person, just making an opinion. I think that's just what people who sell drugs say to keep themselves looking clean. I'm not asking you to...
I agree. I
don't have any reason to believe that he doesn't still have involvement in the drug world.
Yeah, and I agree. I actually had a conversation with someone. Crypto is the new salon. It's the new shop front. It's the new front.
Yeah, it is.
Crypto is. I agree.
Why do you think that he was so afraid to talk about Brandon? What do you think Brandon has to do with...
Are you asking me my opinion on the case?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Okay. So I've had this conversation briefly with you, and I actually spoke to Wax about it. From the get-go of me coming across this case, I didn't like the look of Brandon.
Same.
So every photo, and look, I'm saying it, I'm all about changing people's perception. I'm all about not judging a book by its cover and all this. But I haven't had an uneasy feeling about when I've looked at someone in a long, long time, right? And I saw the photos of him. The first photo I saw was him with a straw hat in the thing. But then every other photo I've seen of Brandon with Jay, everyone's in the moment, apart from Brandon. In every photo, Brandon is observing. That's the word, observing. And I just find it very uneasy. I do feel that this Brandon, there's something about him. And there's one option here with why Ayub didn't mention Brandon. He's either backing his matey, but hasn't done a good job at it, or he is dropping him in here without him, because it's so obvious with him mentioning his name.
Yeah.
He would have been better mentioning his name.
Yeah, 100%. And I saw Wax, I watched his response to the video, and he said the same thing. It's like he's dry snitching by not saying anything, and that's true. There's something for me that don't sit right there. So something that I noticed with Ayub saying that when Jay was at the apartment, He said that he was just on his phone a lot, sending a lot of Snapchats to his mates and stuff. And Ayub was like, right, I'll go to bed, leave him to do what he wants. I've wondered, there's also this thing about Jay leaving with the knives and leaving in a panic. Mark Williams Thomas said this, and he says that he knows the reason why Jay left in a panic. Personally, from looking at all of the evidence that has been presented to us, I don't think that he left in a panic because of the people in the apartment. I get the feeling that somebody was coming. And I think that he may have, when he posted those Snapchats of his feet and the one of the car.
Decoy.
Well, either a decoy. No, I think not a decoy. I think he posted that stuff, then realized, like maybe
someone's got me. Yeah.
Yes, somebody's been asking. They're not happy with me, and they've told Jay, they're coming up to you, and he's like, I better flee. I do think I was so close recently, right, to believe in the main narrative. But I came back from Tenerife yesterday.
Yeah, so you've been to Tenerife, haven't you?
Yeah, and I wasn't going there for anything to do with this. I just went there on holiday, my birthday. But I went to play golf. And
Fuck off, mate. You went there to fucking investigate, didn't you?
Not go in.
Did you tell your missus, well, let's go to Tenerife? It's quite nice this year.
No, I mean, what's there for me to see, bro?
No, but you really are, and you have been involved in this case, haven't you? Like,
I've been there, but I went to Tenerife, right, and I was playing golf. I smashed the ball right off the green, and I was like, fuck's sake, I'm gonna have to go looking for that now. And I drove the buggy up onto this like dirt verge where there's cactus and stuff. Yeah. And I stopped and I said, I'm gonna go back down. I'm not gonna, and then when I was driving back down, that's when it hit me. I was like, nobody is going off the main road into this kind of terrain where there's dirt tracks and cactuses. That, right?
Not even an accident, even an accidental fall.
Nah, no way. You wouldn't even go. So I've seen the footage and the photos of where he went off the road, and I do not believe, like his dad said this as well, and I'm with his dad on it. I do not believe that boy went off of the concrete road into what Tenerife's climate is, bro.
It's got his own ecosystem, haven't it?
Well,
it's different climates and...
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say, bro, is like the ground, when there's a drop off a bit of a cliff, that ground, it looks like it could fall away at any moment. It's dry and but like those cactuses, they're bigger than me. Like they're like double the size of me, some of them. It's not sensible to even a drunk person to go off the main road unless somebody's chasing you.
And you'll do anything, won't you, then?
Yeah. And I feel that obviously some people think that Jay was planted where his body was found and he was killed somewhere else. If we're to
That's troubling for them as well then, isn't it, though? That would be a struggle for the people putting the body there if it's that bad the terrain, right?
Yeah, and it's also the kind of terrain where footprints would be noticed. And I know they say people walk them or whatever, but I'm sure you would see the footprints all standing around the point where he gets pushed. But we don't know that the Spanish police are not aware of all this. This is why you have to give the main narrative some respect, because it reminds me of the Madeleine McCann case where people were blasting the police because they're Portuguese or because they're Spanish police, they're useless, we can't trust them. And I think that's so disrespectful.
Well, they're famously known for corruption, aren't they? That's what people would say, isn't it? And people put the narrative of like the way that Tenerife has been built off British crime. Yeah. Oh, it's corrupt straight away, and it almost gets lost in translation. And like you said, it just disrespects the whole validity of the piece. What's going on, people? Really sorry to crash midway through this episode, but we've got an important announcement to make. As you know, from day one, we have been giving you exclusive content week in, week out. And we've even built 3 studios from scratch, which has been a bit of a graft, to be fair. Well, now we're asking for your help in return. We promise to give you exclusive content, behind the scenes footage, reaction videos, and documentaries if you really support us by signing up to our Patreon. The description is below. Stay central. Being Wales' biggest podcast means only one thing. We need to be sponsored by Wales' biggest clothing brand, Weekend Offender. They've been in the game for well over a decade now, and they still hold weight within the casual scene. If you want a deal on the hottest seasonal drops, then hit the discount code below at Stay Central. Welcome to the UK's most unique camping hotspot in Pembrokeshire, Wales. Apple Camping.
Flying saucer. Oh shit! I want to stare.
Trust me, he means it. And if it's good enough for Joe Rogan and Ryan Trahan, who's got over 17.8 million followers, it's good enough for you. You can choose from 10 fully furnished stays, including the Pac-Man tents. We've got 2 aeroplanes, right? We've got one totally authentic. Come and have a look. Hey Holmes, Eagle has landed. The legend has it that this plane was actually used for flights with the cartel. Which means luxury. And we've got the fully furnished planes as well. No, what? No, put me down! No, put me down! They got UFOs here! It's crazy! Hello, boys! I'm back! Apart from the obvious attractions, there is room for so much development here as well. We've got the Witch's Hut, we've got some more traditional camping sites, so head on down to see what they've got. It's not just for friends and family though. Businesses can book on for corporate events on the best off-site kickoffs. And guess what? We got some amazing offers, all the way from December to February. And finally, how could we not forget? If you want a more of a traditional stay, we also have the Nurtured Farmhouse on site. 5 bedrooms, more for group stays, wonderful atmosphere. Head on down, details are on the website. Go follow them on social media at Apple Camping.
So another one of the points that I've got in my notes is I saw a comment. Did you delete any comments that mentioned Brandon?
I don't delete any comments. I believe they help the algorithm comments. Now, I do have, however, a kind of, it's not a policy, but it's like something that flags up words. And I can try and get the screenshot of them. But Brandon isn't in there, don't worry. But it's more like junkie, smackhead, and racist slurs because, like I said, I'm, as an ex-addict, I hate those words, and I just don't accept them. I find those words the same as someone calling someone the N-word or the P-word, or I just hate it. So they're the only things that would, if someone's put those words in a comment, then they ain't going up. That's a fact. But in terms of Brandon, no. And another thing I want to add on about these comments, you can finish off what you're saying, but I love heart every comment. You could be calling me the ugliest, fattest, smelliest twat ever, and I will love it. So people now are saying in the comments about, oh my God, the Central Club's been liking comments where they're talking about, he must agree. And I'm like, mate, it's not that deep. Okay, if someone says something nice about me and I genuinely love it, I'll put a comment in and say, thank you very much. Mm-hmm. But I also love comments that are digging me out as well. Well,
yeah, and it also, you said about the algorithm, deleting things doesn't work for that. But also, when people
is this in the live chat or in the comments as well? That's another thing you want to know.
Oh, it was in the comments.
Yeah,
but I was thinking,
and I didn't delete any in the live, but I'm just saying
when the person said that you deleted comments regarding. If there was a comment that stuck in my mind and then I noticed that it was gone, I would be able to...
You've been on it, yeah, of course.
I'd be able to say, the comment said da-da-da-da-da, and he deleted it. Why did he... But they haven't come forward.
They haven't come forward with that, have they?
Do you think... There's been a lot of talk about this girl, Lucy, being a international drug dealer.
I think there's some validity in that. That's the narrative I went with from the beginning, was the drug thing. It sounded good.
I think that she may well be, but pardon me for saying that because I shouldn't be talking people's business. But we're just having an opinion.
Yeah, this is our opinion.
I think that she may well be. Whether or not that's related to the case is not important. But if she is, then it does bring Brandon back in for me because the way that everybody seems to be protecting him sort of makes, but he's close with her, makes me think, well, they know the same roots.
Well, this is, again, what we've gathered from the podcast that I think, I've done a good job at is Ayub has explained what connections he has with them in Tenerife. And to me, it sounds like the connection is Brandon. And, he mentioned about his family lives there, as being there.
Yeah.
So if you want to chuck that in a cannonball and go with that. Is Brandon's family quite respected in Tenerife, connected? And Ayub's been doing work with them, and these are just Brandon's mates he's brought along.
Yeah, I like the way you said that about putting in a cannonball and just firing it and seeing if it lands somewhere, because, again, this is just all hearsay. I'm sure the police do know a lot more, and I do think that they sworn to secrecy. They're not allowed to put things out, so people can give them a battering and throw their opinions at them, but they're not just gonna cover for a group of people's conspiracy to murder, and
unless the family are the real deal over there. There can be that level there of like, I heard someone say about, the mayor is involved and he's corrupt, and
I remember
it's just mad, like.
So I remember they were saying that the person that owns the Airbnb or Ophelia it's a brother who used to be the mayor or something, and
the one with the wheelbarrow and his belly hanging out. I'm joking,
is that the Hills Have Eyes?
Yes.
Guy, yeah?
Well, that's why I asked, because that was quite weird as well. One thing that I was surprised about, and this is what confuses me with the Ayub thing, is that photo, the three of them, the photo, and it's like,
Hear no evil.
But he said he's saying that was a video. He said that's a video and someone screenshotted it, but then he also said, like, he posted it, did he? I don't know. I'm a bit confused with it. Like,
from what I took, Ayub said that he posted a collection of photos or video clips on his story from over the past week or so while he was celebrating his birthday week.
And that was a video.
And that was a video that somebody had screenshotted.
Right, yeah. I got you now.
This goes back to the whole thing of, if Ayub is directly involved in the death of Jay Slater, then this makes him crazy psychopath. Because if he's posted that like, oh, I've got away with murder, hear no evil, speak no evil, it's like, bro, like, you can't be.
Yeah, and that video that you can't touch me because I'm electric. Yeah. All that, I was like, this guy, man. And he told me, and he says, let's just say this as well, put it out there, this has just come to me now. He said that he didn't want to go to the NLG because it wasn't his type of music. I don't like that music. Well, that video, Can't Touch Me, I'm Electric, is a hardcore tune. And you seem to know this. You seem to know the fucking words to it, Ayub.
Yeah.
But, let me just play devil's advocate again here now. In the process of doing the podcast, I've actually changed the title from I Did Not Kill Jay Slater to The Jay Slater Case. And that's because of Ayub.
Well, you think maybe...
No.
Changed your mind on whether he's involved or not?
No, he this is me trying to give him his kind of defense, let's say. Because he would be a psychopath otherwise. Again, he basically said...
Can you imagine the documentaries that would come out?
Yeah.
If in 6 months' time some evidence is found that he actually was to do with the death, and then you got all like these 2.5-hour interviews and video clips, bro, like he would be a laughing.
Well, he rang me. He rang me the other day and said, I said, are you okay with the podcast? He said, bro, I'm fine with it. He said, just please, could you maybe change the title? He said, I don't want my Nancy in this. And that there made me feel like the guy cares about what his family thinks. Like, and he said it as well. He said it, I can't remember what it was, but he mentioned his mother about something. It was in the podcast. But it was the second time I heard him say that he cares about what his mum or his nan thinks. And that made me think as well, then maybe, if you care about what your mum and that, we all do that anyway, but... maybe he ain't that bad guy then, like, because, I don't know. It was just weird, like, how he said it.
When I was watching the interview, I did feel that he was a little bit heartless, like almost like he didn't care about what was going on. But if I've been dragged through the mud the way that he has, I mean, I have for certain things, but if
I know the pod.
If I've been dragged through the mud for the way that he has, I'd be a bit like, fuck you all, honestly, like and you're innocent, then it kind of shows that either he's a psychopath or he's like, sod you.
Well, what he said in the podcast at the end when we said about any messages to the mother, the sound went off on the last 20 seconds. People said something about that. I don't know if we can transcribe what they said for the people just to clear that up, but I do know that, I don't know if it's on this bit or not because I haven't watched that bit back, but he said, look, like, you know, I feel sorry for the mother and the father, and I send my condolences, but what, you know, why I don't want to go and speak to him. I hardly knew Jay.
Yeah, what's it to
You
do
know,
with
I don't even know, like, I don't know them. I don't even know Jay, really.
So,
you know,
I guess the main thing I took from it is I actually feel bad for Ayub. Another thing I wanted to say that's important is people being like, oh, a 31-year-old man taking this young boy out. I'm sorry for what happened, however it happened, but Jay Slater was a man.
Yeah.
Jay Slater was a person who was in charge of his own actions.
He was on holiday.
He was on holiday.
On a lad's holiday.
And, you know, back when I was that age, I used to get myself in all kinds of random missions.
Scrapping with 40-year-olds and knocking.
Going off up there. But Jay Slater, you know, I genuinely think that Ayub was like, God, if you want to come with us, we're not doing anything, but, you know, we're all on holiday. It's just, you know, come along for the ride. Ayub didn't really seem sympathetic in ways towards Jay, but that may be because he genuinely hasn't got an emotional attachment to Jay Slater or his death.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Well, I would feel a bit weird. I would feel a bit weirded out if I was the last. I would have a bit of guilt on me, but to the point now, months later, I'm being accused as the murderer. I'd be like, fucking good riddance to you, mate.
I'd have guilt.
Why did you fucking leave, you bastard? Like, you know what I mean?
And the thing of him saying, I told him, if you just wait for me to have a couple of hours sleep, I'll drive you back down. And he chose to leave.
But Waxed made a good point on his reaction about he was willing to run down in his Bundys to move the car for Ophelia, but he couldn't ring him a taxi or give him a. Do you know what I mean?
But he'd offered him. I get
it. And if he's miles away and he's willing to go back to the villa.
8 o'clock in the morning, no one's had any sleep. If I got to move the car, I'm annoyed about that anyway. But when I get back into bed, it's like, no, I'm not driving you an hour or however long it was back to the south of Tenerife. If you want to go. Yeah. But like, I will give you a lift when. I just don't think that it's Ayub's responsibility to have done certain things.
I want to say as well, in terms of the. When someone said, well, no one's lied about Ayub, he was a drug dealer. When I said about like the media portraying him, what I meant was like, they just went straight to the headline of man flooding Wales selling drugs. And I just think straight away, you're making him look guilty, you know, especially to the masses who don't really know that life. Do you know what I mean? Like it's, and I just thought like, you know, we got to give him once a junkie, always a junkie. Once a cheat, always a cheat. And I don't believe that's the case in a lot of instances. But I just felt like people are like straight away, because he's a drug dealer, because he's done crypto, because he's black as well. There is people 100%. There.
Yeah.
You know, I love the way Wax has broke it down, because Wax is a black man himself. And he said, I don't know about this, you know, when he says about foreign suspect and all that, he's like, I don't know why he keeps saying that. I understand.
I made sense of that. It's like, you know, it's easy to blame the foreigner, like, you know, because I look different and people don't necessarily know me. Like, you know, people can look at somebody who's been to jail and who's black, and if they've never been to jail and they're white, they might not understand them. They might come from a different class of people, you know.
But that's what struck me so much with Ayub. Like he is like the whitest black guy I know, bro. Like that's how I know him. Like when I met him in jail, and like the things he was like, you know, the jokes and the movie remarks, and like, I don't know, like he was just like he was just mad. Like that's the kind of guy he come across to me.
You were gonna ask me what my theory is on it.
Yes.
Not that I'm an authority to.
We'll give both our theories.
Well, yeah, this is what I was gonna say. I was, you know. Because I'm no authority on it, I'm just interested. You know, of course, I feel terrible for what happened, but I don't know the boy, I don't know these people at all, so I don't really have to have an emotional attachment to the situation or feel so sorry.
Okay, yeah.
I'm just gossiping like everyone else on the internet, you know? And trust me, well, we saw each other in the comments on the Facebook groups early on, and we was laughing about it because the amount of, like, I did a lot of trolling, because it brought out the worst of people I could ever imagine. Like, I didn't realise that there was some...
Well, the people who made the fake accounts and that are pretending like we got him in a chamber, and, you know, we're going to post this at 10 o'clock, we're going live to tell you, and you're like, sick people, man.
So I don't have a theory, but I do believe that Ayub is innocent of Jay's murder. I do believe.
Do you?
That. Yeah. I don't think Ayub is the person to be looking at. I think Brandon is.
Do you think he's complicit in cover up?
Only as far as not saying anything that he doesn't know. Because me and you can say stuff that we don't know about the fact.
Yeah.
But
and he's doubled down on that. It's like what he's done is he's like, look, right, I'll put it like this, yeah. You know when you're a kid, well, when I was a kid, Mum said tidy up your bedroom. I just put it all under the bed.
Yeah. So
Ayub's doing that with the doorstep of Jay. He's just putting all the shit there and he's leaving it. And he's basically giving you some shit of like, it's not me, but...
I'm walking down the road, yeah, or you're walking down the road and you hear a commotion from a house and two men come out of the house fighting. You recognize one of them and then you see the other one bleeding. And you just walk past because the police have just turned up and it's not your business, but you do recognize the one person. Then people are asking, like, oh, what did you see? What did you make of it? It's like, listen, I didn't see what happened in the house. I don't know why there was blood, but I just walked past. That's all you want to say, because who are you to start saying, oh, he must have stabbed him, or maybe he was doing his missus, or da-da-da-da-da. Like, you just be like, I'm not going to say anything because I don't know. And that's how I think Ayub comes across, which I don't think makes him complicit in anything.
And what a lot of people don't understand is as well, this is what a lot of people don't understand, yeah? Ayub, like you said, is from that life. He's grew up, he's been in and out of prison, he's obviously got some serious friends as well. Like, we all have, we all know but he's been in that life. And if he openly said stuff he knew, or he'd be murked by his mates. He'd be finished. He's ostracised one way. He's damned if he do, he's damned if he don't.
And he's a grass and a muppet, even to people that are not to do with Jay Slater and the police.
Yeah.
It's like,
that's what I'm on about.
That kind of person.
No, people who matter to him would disown him, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Another thing I picked up on that he said out of everyone, Lucy was the person that was most concerned, and he said Lucy had called him and said some untoward things to him, like had a go at him on the phone because he didn't have the answers that she wanted, and he was like, I respect her for that.
But the question there is that doubling down on guilt, or is that genuine? That's the option you got from that. Yeah. There's two outcomes, isn't it?
I wonder if it's to the beginning parts of pushing the narrative away from Brandon. Yeah. So when you ask me my theory, these I don't have a theory, and it's not important.
You just like all these theories.
I'd like to know the truth. I think Jay Slater and his family deserve the absolute truth.
Okay, then I'll put it this way. Do you think the main narrative that the media have gone with and what the police are saying is true?
No. I don't think he walked off the road and fell to his death. No way. No way. No way. Absolutely no way.
Because inside us as humans, we want to believe that, and as sick as it sounds, we want him to, it's sad. But a lot of people want this to be the most tragic story ever.
Yeah, and I don't.
And I'll be real. I was deflated when I found out. First of all, I was happy he was found, but I was like, oh, really? I'm being truthful.
What you mean? But no, I don't believe. I absolutely don't believe that boy decided, oh, that's a quick shortcut, I can see the sea. Nah, you wouldn't go off that road, just the concrete road. You wouldn't go off there unless you were chased, or unless you were hiding from a car that was in the vicinity that was a threat, so therefore being chased.
So Ayub said, if what Ayub's saying is true, and he did go back to the B&B, he did say he had 2 knives on him. Yeah? Yeah,
but did he bring the 2 knives with him, or did he take them from the apartment?
I don't know.
Because it's been made to seem that he took the knives from... So the big problem that I
think he was talking about carrying a knife around, I think, maybe. I'm not sure.
Okay, big risk when you're going through security, but I suppose it's a bit more relaxed. But Ayub said that Jay was very active on his phone and his Snapchats when he was at the Airbnb. And so let's say Ayub's telling the truth, and Ayub's just in bed and Jay's on his phone, blah, 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 smoking his ciggies by the door. Something happened that made him grab 2 knives, is what I think that the narrative is, and flee, and then eventually go off the road. Somebody had to be coming for him.
But, I'm going to speak about my past life now as a crack and a heroin addict. I'd have a pipe of crack and I'm going to the kitchen straight away to grab knives. And I'm curtain twitching.
I was thinking that about paranoia from drugs.
I am, and cocaine and crack are exactly the same. Mm-hmm. They're the same drug, just used differently. So maybe he was just paro. He's in the middle of fucking nowhere with 2 geezers he's just met. He's probably just had a funny turn. He could have,
That is possible, and I've seen a lot of conversations where people have died or bad things.
Excited delirium. Look at Liam Payne.
Yeah.
Liam Payne. Now, if that comes out, the fact...
I'm not buying it, bro. I'm not buying that he went up. You got to see the sizes of these cactus, and you got to see the ground, right? Like, it's not a place that you go walk in. Like, it's not.
So are you thinking he went the opposite way of where he should have went to hide? Because he know if someone was coming for him,
then he's not going to go down. I think that they're saying he went up, and I think.
And who are these? Who are who? You think it's something to do with Brandon?
I do, yeah. And I, you know, that's just my opinion. I don't know the guy. I don't care.
Yeah.
Don't care, because a lot of people are protecting this, protecting that. I'm not saying this. He's like, why was he never part of helping out to find Jay? Why was he never gave an interview to the press when he was one of the main people he was with? Like Ayub wasn't. Ayub was just a bystander from the holiday. This is one of
I think Ayub is probably a pain in the ass for Brandon and all that, probably, in the way they're probably just like shitting themselves.
And people say about Brad's mum, you know, is suspect. I haven't really paid much attention to her, to be honest, but I think she just wants her boy to be protected, if anything. But that would go to show.
Well, that's what happened to Lucy, innit? Her mother came and grabbed her and took her.
And I think that in itself, to me, seems like they don't believe their kids are responsible, but they don't want their kids to be involved. Yo, listen, Brandon, you need to come and have a chat with my man.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I would love to have them all on, and do you know what? I would do the exact same thing I've done with Ayub. Just I'm just going to let them talk.
But the problem with,
I know what people are going to say. I think a lot of people are just gutted because they're so invested.
This is why those lot won't come on, but Ayub will. Because I think that those lot...
That should say a lot about it.
Who went on holiday with Jay, they can't, but I think Ayub can. Because I don't think Ayub got anything to hide, and that's...
But the other thing you can look at that though as well is they are adults, like you said, but they are still young, and they've got parents who are probably like, you ain't fucking doing that. You ain't doing that, and Ayub's his own man. That's another point.
I think everybody sees it for foul play, but I really think that it's time we stop looking at Ayub. Ayub, he likes the attention, like, you know, he's a bit of a personality. Okay, cool. Well, we've had that now. There's no reason to believe he's tied in. If anything, he's just not. He's got an opinion that he doesn't want to give. But if Jay had some sort of enemy or some sort of discrepancy and beef with somebody else that was not at that Airbnb, that's what's important.
I just want to say, I'm not going to just say stop looking at Ayub. I'm not going to say that. What I'm going to say is, there's people out there that are literally clutching and going for some silly things, like even kind of involving myself now, and probably you now. It's like, stop with the nonsense. If you really want justice for Jay, like, try and look in the right places, and if you're looking in places and you've checked and there's nothing there, then maybe it isn't foul play. Maybe it is, like we said, it is just what it says. Now, my personal opinion, I think Brandon has got a lot to answer to. Like I said, I just felt uneasy with looking at all the photos and the images of him around him.
I feel
he's just like staring at Jay, or he's like, it's just,
bit of guilt because the both of us.
But at the same time, I don't want to slam Brandon.
Yeah, the both of us are saying this, and that's fine because we're allowed to say what we want. But we need to, I need to really decide why I think there's a problem. But when people are saying about, Jay lost a bag of drugs, if anything, I believe that Brandon would be the person who would have some sort of involvement in that kind of activity.
Just use Jay as a...
Yeah. There is definitely the possibility that nobody killed him and that he ran and fell off the side of this cliff. But if he went off the cliff and nobody else was there to be a part of it, then, in my opinion, it was because he was running or nervous. It was something that made him go off the edge, and I think that's still very possible. And some of the people who were on holiday with him, who might have been going up to have a go at him because he messed something up, they might not want to come forward because they feel bad that ultimately they were the cause of. Because I don't think that's even like second-degree murder, is it? It's like.
Well, there's a part as well, someone said about, remember the village with the church and the CCTV?
Yeah.
They think that basically Ayub and Rocky were like basically sizing up gaffs or people to rob, and they've probably got these younger boys in to go and do it, and Jay's kind of, they've gone there, there's people there, and they've got away and he's got stuck, and they've kind of murked him off. Like that's what one of the theories is, because I've seen videos of like was it Potter Paper's place that got robbed? There's a big culture over there of that happening. And there are probably people over there who do that in jobs. And
well, I mean, I used to be around certain circles of people that used to do a lot of robbing drug dealers when I was young. And that's something to note, is that I'm talking when I was 18, 19. So these are the younger generation of people. And just because Jay looks like a kid, you don't know that he might not be on that.
Yeah.
You know, and I think, listen, we've done a lot of guessing and hypothesizing on what could and what couldn't be. Truth of the matter is, nobody seems to know the facts.
Yeah.
A few things I'd like to say is Mark Williams Thomas, he came out and gave some breadcrumb clues and said, because of the family, da-da-da. But yeah, the family are very important in this and deserve to be treated with utmost respect and decency. However, the public also...
But if he says because of the family, he's automatically crossing the family out of being involved or knowing... Because if he's caring for the family,
that's fine,
it must be news that's going to upset them.
But I do question him.
But then they deserve justice.
He's a strange fellow.
Oh, Mark Williams.
Yeah. He comes out. He's not employed by anybody.
Isn't he?
He's not employed by any government.
Is he like a self-made, self-proclaimed?
He's a self-funded detective, but he seems to pop up when a narrative needs spinning. Like, why did he get involved in that case? What, was it just out of his own interest? Come through and tell us these things. And rather than giving these breadcrumb clues just to keep yourself relevant and on top of it, just tell us, because we as the public, we do deserve some information, because, we're going to have kids that want to go to Tenerife on holidays and so there's this big corruption thing. These things are important to the general public. Just give us the information. Yeah. Why did he leave with 2 knives in a panic, which Mark Williams Thomas said he is certain of and has the reason why?
Yeah, but how? What reason has he got? Like the text messages? Like what? How do you know this, mate? Do you know what I mean? What? Is he text someone saying, "I'm leaving now. I've got 2 shanks on me"?
Nice trainers, bro.
Thank you, mate. They come in. Like what?
Well, that's what I'm saying about when Ayub said that he was very active on his phone and Snapchatting his friends.
So Ayub was on his phone, he said, upstairs. No, he said, I'm upstairs on my phone and I can hear the steel door going constantly where Jay's having a fag all the time. Yeah, but the Snapchat show that Jay was on his phone.
Jay was on his phone messaging his friends and snapping his friends, because you know what they're like. Yeah. They take a selfie and then they write something over there, and then they might make a little video and say, "Oh yeah, I'm just here."
Yeah.
But Jay was active, and I do think that somebody said to Jay, "Look, somebody who you pissed off is, they know that where the apartment is that you're staying in."
He's coming.
And they come in, yeah. And he's like, "Oh, do I..."
Whether they were or not.
Yeah, and if that was me, maybe I'd have gone up and said, "Hey, Rocky, listen, I've just been told somebody's coming up here after me. Any chance we could team up and defend me?" But the fact that he didn't and he just left would potentially suggest that the people who were on their way for him Ayub and Rocky would not fight against them to defend Jay.
I don't know the relationship Jay and Brandon have either, but just from looking at afar, it feels like it's I don't know. It's like it's not a tight relationship. It's they know each other.
Like he's a
mutual.
Like he's a worker.
No, mutual. Like maybe Brad or Lucy's closer to Brandon, and Jay just knows him through them, like sort of thing.
Because Lucy got plain outed, enough people knew her name and knew her from... She can't hide it. All she can do is hope it dies off. But we all know she's a drug dealer, and we all know that she's dealing drugs from festivals in the UK to festivals in Tenerife. I even saw a story about her being on a boat with as a celebrity party, I think Central Sea or something.
She looks about 14 though, bro.
Yeah, but that's why it works for her.
She's about 14.
And at them times, look, like when you go out clubbing these days, I don't go clubbing, but they all look young. That's why I don't go clubbing.
Yeah, it's a wild one, and if that is True. Then, you know, it makes you think more reason about this narrative with Brandon, doesn't it?
Me coming on here and chatting with you, I've always been aware people are going to slate both of us, but it's none of my business. Who am I to give opinion? But the one thing that I'm willing to do, just because I got no reason not to, is I am directly saying that Brandon Hodges needs to be focused on.
Come on the podcast, innit?
Yeah, like come on the podcast, not with me, just with you, just chat, give your side of the story, because there's no way you can sit like Ayub. You can't sit back and have people accusing you, and know that you're innocent and want justice for your mate, and just sit in the background in silence. I just think that's bizarre, because you could still come on and you know, if you are involved in drugs or in some shadiness, you could say that up front to you and say, I'm not going to incriminate myself to go and get myself arrested, so let's work out a way of working around that. That's fine. I mean, you'd said that you and Ayub didn't have that conversation, but Ayub did a great job of pointing out that he's a crypto expert and that's how he makes his living.
Yeah, well, I've seen his stories where like he has like all these phones and he's mining.
Okay.
Yeah. So and when I spoke to him,
I know another career where you have a lot of phones.
Yeah, funny guy. Yeah. So, but on the first podcast he mentioned it. On the second one, I spoke as if everyone else heard the first one. How you make your money again? You know, it was like that. But yeah, he's told me, and that's what he was trying to say is he goes around the world through crypto.
Mm-hmm. And I don't have any reason to believe or not believe, but I don't care.
So, is there anything else like did you wanted to ask me? I'm just trying to think now. Like, are
there any questions that you, aside from the Brandon one, is there any other questions now in hindsight that you wish you'd have put to him?
Well, like I said, I wish I asked more about Brandon, definitely. But in terms of just like, I'll be honest, like. Not really. I would have done it the same way. Relax, let him speak. I feel like I've done that correctly, how I do it. I just think, I would have maybe questioned a bit more, and maybe I could have looked into the case a bit more as well. I wanted to come across from not an armchair detective, but just an everyday person who wants to hear this for the first time. Yeah, and I think get to know the basics. Like, I think even in this, I've said it a bunch of times, I do feel a little bit awkward because who am I to say anything? But we're not armchair detectives. I'm not claiming to know the answers. A lot of people are coming from the point of view of, right, we got new evidence in today from we're going to review that. It's not what this is about. We're just the public, and we're just interested. And Mark Williams Thomas should come forward and say... Well, Tony Morrell, who I interviewed and he interviewed me, 4 weeks ago, he's having Mark on his podcast this weekend, I think. Okay. So maybe we can get him to like get a question across or something. Yeah, that'd be great. Because I think it's. I could get him on a podcast. I could get him on. Would it be of interest? Getting this Mark on? You can, but only if he's willing to explain. He literally said on his Twitter, he said, "I now know why Jay Slater left that Airbnb in a panic, and I have it on good belief that he left with 2 knives or with weapons." If he's going to say that, then he needs to. There's no point having him on the podcast unless he's going to tell you the answers to those questions. But I think the public deserve to know. Like, he's not even a copper. He doesn't have a swear to secrecy like the Spanish police do. Couldn't get in. He couldn't even get into the police. Well, I think he was a police officer, but for some reason or other, he is no longer a detective and he is a private investigator. Listen, ultimately, I'm just as qualified as he is today to go. If I went over to a country where there's a thing going on and started involving myself. Well, what about those people? What about like the people? There was loads of people. Like there was that one guy who was like, I think maybe it was because he was a trekker, but he was like over there making lots of money on the Jay Slater case, wasn't he? Where's he down the Rapids. Does he help now still? No? No. What's his theory? He just thinks it's done now, yeah? He seems like a bit of a gallivanter. He goes to different places. So it was a good excuse for him to go and travel, see Mascot and also help. Fair enough. And, people saying he was taking money, blah, blah, blah. Well, if he's got his own platform and people are watching his platform... He's allowed to make money. That's by the by. Yeah. I don't think he was covering for anyone or doing anything dodgy. I think he would get a couple of extra days on his holiday and, had an excuse to get a couple of extra views.
And the only time the reason that I think he left is because he was probably sick of everyone slagging him off.
Yeah, well, that's what people tend to do when people try and do a good thing. They get slated. What so out of all the theories that you're seeing on social media, all these people who are, look, there are people who are benefiting off this massively. Yeah. There is, but like you said, so be it if people are watching. Shh, bro. Wait there. Yeah, let's clear that up first. We paid Ayub, you know, and I got paid. So we wasn't monetized. It was limited because of the shit he's talking about.
Okay.
And secondly, no, we never paid Ayub, and he didn't ask for a penny. You know, he didn't.
No, and there's no money going on here either. But so out of all
the is there any that you want to say, give it a rest, mate? That is not the case.
Yeah. Okay. So this thing about the boat and the stabbing on the beach, I think that's give it a rest, mate. Jay went to that apartment. You know, the video that the Ayub gave to you.
Do you want to talk about them?
Oh, true. So you said...
You're not that good, are you? I thought you had all these questions for me.
Well, no, because this came after. You said about
Curveball.
There's a third voice. I think it's Jay.
Do you?
Yeah, because we all have our laugh. And then we all have our like... like, do you know,
shall I play it for the people?
Yeah, sure. I don't think there was an extra person.
Yeah? And if it is someone, it's Ayub's voice. It's not Jay's, mate. It's not Jay's, mate. That is not Jay's voice. It might be Ayub's. Well, that ain't Jay's voice, mate.
I said to you to put it on loop so you could put it on the video and let people decide for themselves. Because if anybody knows...
So first of all, let's set the record straight. My first video on TikTok announcing that I was going to do this podcast with Ayub. Well, when I said I've done the podcast, I was on the train, I think. Ayub sent us the video, didn't he? And we were buzzing. But he says on the podcast, you know, this video, it's proving Jay's with me, but please blur out Rocky's face.
Because he's sleeping now.
Yeah. Look, Rocky's not doing lives like he was, or he's not active as much as... He probably just thought, I don't want to know this anymore. I'm done with it. Like, and you know, out of respect, he's giving me the video at the end of the day, so I'm not going to be and this is what I mean about not breaking trust. You know, my word is my bond. I was a lying, cheating thief for 10 years, and I am done with that life, and I'm trying to hold my word. So I promised Ayub that I wouldn't put it out, you know, but if people want to trust my word, that it's Rocky, they can, you know, and I'd like to think people do believe me. So it's Rocky in the car, and nobody else is in the car on that video, okay? In terms of what I said on TikTok, I said, look, Ayub sent us a video that apparently a lot of people have been asking for, and he's put it on there. That's all I said. I never said, Ayub sent me a video with Jay in the car. A lot of people were like, well, where's this video with Jay in the car? And this is what I hate about like that fickle community. So anyway, he asked us to block it out. So this video he sent us, he said it's just them two and Rocky in the car. But from this video, I do feel like there's another voice, but I'm not saying Ayub's lying. I'll play the video. And I've also had people say that this is a recording, like this has been edited, this ain't even real. But from listening to it myself, I don't believe that. I believe this is real. You can actually hear cockatoos in the background. You can hear one at the beginning and you can hear one halfway through, which explains to me that it's early hours in the morning up in the mountains. I'll play it now.
Go on, play it.
Two balls there. Headshot.
Did you hear the cockatoos?
Yeah.
Headshot. He looks like someone on a hit.
Yeah.
Through the window.
That's Jay, because that is Jay, bro. I can still hear Rocky's voice. I believe
through the window. Do you?
Yeah, I believe that's Jay. So that video to me justifies that Jay went to the Airbnb with those two and Rocky was asleep.
And I'm going to show you because you're here.
But
I'm going to show you because you're here.
Rocky's
I can't. But
to be asleep. That guy is asleep.
Is that Rocky?
Yeah, that's Rocky. I've seen Rocky a few times. That's it. Don't even need to be questioned. That's Rocky, and he's heavily asleep.
It looks like. Yeah, look. There's no one else in the car. Like, it's getting light.
Yeah.
Look at that.
There's nothing about.
There's the green garage. Look, there's the clouds.
Yeah.
I'm going to screenshot that actually for people to actually see.
Yeah, because I did see Wax asking about there was other cars behind it.
Yeah, a red car there, I can see.
Look, that video clarifies Jay went up to that apartment with them two. And
Do you think that's Jay's voice?
Yeah, 100%.
And the thing, like I said, about the bottle of Hennessy he's drinking earlier on the day, he's obviously a Henny drinker. Mm-hmm. It's in his vocabulary.
Yeah,
2 bottles of Henny, that, you know. And
So then that backs up that he went to the apartment. Somebody was coming to that apartment to make him escape.
I do, however, think, though, that video that Ayub sent of the Hennessy, yeah, I have questioned whether that is Ayub filming it or is it someone else filming it and he sent it to him. I just can't imagine Ayub just snapping Jay like that right in front of him and him like, it's not even like, yo, he's looking at his own phone in his own thing. And the video, do you know what it feels like it is to me? Like, we've got the subject here. Like he's like people are eyeing him up. Like it could have been Brandon or I don't know. Maybe I'm just stretching there. What do you think?
I mean, I'm more defensive of Ayub than I think even you are.
Yeah, but that's you know.
I am, and I promise that is purely based off of the facts and information that I've seen over the months, and I just don't.
So you're gonna get it in the comments yourself, then?
Fuck them.
Yeah,
fuck them. What does it matter to me? I won't read them.
Yeah.
I just came to have a chat with you, but I genuinely,
he will read them. So make sure they're nice.
But I do think that Ayub needs to be left alone a bit. I think it'd be bizarre for him to have some involvement in the poor boy's death and then come on your show and do 2.5 hours and be so blasé. But if you were involved in this boy's death, what would you do? You fucking hide. And the only person that I can say was close to this situation who seems like they just hid is that Brandon Hodges. And I do absolutely not believe the official narrative that he fell off a cliff because he decided to walk a quick way back to. I don't buy that. I don't buy that for a single second. In fact, I'm really, really powerfully against that. Against that because of what I've seen of the terrain and those cactus. They ain't no joke. So I'm absolutely against the official narrative. But
he might have been there, but he chased.
But he was chased there or he was dragged down there. But I think what Ayub said about he came to the apartment alive and he left alive, I think that is an innocent comment and it is the truth.
Okay then, well, yeah, any last words?
Yeah, just well done for doing a good job of the interview, man, because, you know, you're doing a great job in everything you're doing with Central Club, but that interview was brilliant. You've even given me a chance to come and nag you with some of the questions that me and other people had. But, like, you know, you did a great job of it. You let the man speak and, you just let the man speak.
Yeah.
That's all you got.
No, I appreciate it, mate. Look, thank you.
That's all right.
And, again...
Actually, I've got one more thing. Ayub, because I spoke nice about you, give me some crypto tips, innit?
Funny guy.
Listen, Jay Slater passed away and I've been very sad in regards to that for him and his family and his friends. It's not a funny thing. It shouldn't be a gossip thing, but we as the public, we're entitled to, and we do. So I do want to show some respect to that.
And like I said on the podcast, me and Reece, we reached out to his parents. We haven't got nothing back off the mother. We managed to get through Wax, contact his father. I believe he doesn't want to speak to us, but we're here. We're here if they want to speak. Look, I'd be happy to be done with this now, but I'm sure this video will come out, some other stuff will happen, and if there's stuff that we think is important to talk, then maybe we could do something again. And I don't know, people might have even liked this. People might even like this dynamic. If they bring Benji back, we might come back again for something else.
I'm local. I'm always about.
Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Leave your comments. Tell us what you think. If there's anything you think you want us to cover, let us know. And until next time, stay central.
The Central Club.